everyone. Happy Thursday. Welcome to our lunchtime yoga session. For today's class, we're going to need a couple of props. So first off, we're going to need a belt. You can also use a pair of stockings or a strap. Hi. So make sure you've got a belt or something that you can use as a strap, because we will be doing some hamstring stretches towards the end of class. And then of course, if you'd like to just have a towel that you can use as a prop just to assist you in some of the postures. Today's class is going to be a bit of a total body class. Hi everyone, logging on. So we're going to do some floor work first after our sun salutations warm up, and then we're going to be moving into some standing postures that require some balance, but also will be nice and stretching and strengthening for the legs before we move into our hamstring stretching work at the end of class on the mat. So just make sure you've got some water nearby if you'd like, and again something that you can use to assist you with the hamstring stretches. So a pair of stockings is completely fine. You can even use like a little gym towel that you can roll up, and I prefer using a belt just because I find the belt gives me the right amount of length, and you can easily adjust that length, and also it's nice and sturdy. Just remember that yoga practice is all about breathing, so always come back to the breath. And if you're like me and you've been following some of the training that Steve has been setting out, your muscles will be feeling pretty tight. Mine definitely are. My hamstrings are really tight. I was even struggling to touch my toes after the run this morning. But that is why we do yoga practice, so we can just ease the body. Hi everyone, thanks for all the waves. So we can ease the body out, stretch those muscles in tight spots, and prepare the body for exercise for the following day. Yoga practice also helps to prevent a lot of injuries, so it's a really great complementary exercise to do in amongst your other sport. So we're going to begin today's session with a warm-up of 3 rounds of sun salutation A before we move into our work on the floor, which will do a series of cats and cows and stretches, child's pose, thread the needle, and some foot stretches, which we don't actually often ever do, but are so good for the feet, especially when you're spending a lot of time running. So let's begin by standing at the top of the mat. My cats are running around, so they may just come and join us for the practice today. Begin standing, feet together, kneecaps lifted, thighs engaged, nice strong legs. As we inhale, we lift our hands up towards the ceiling, take a nice big deep breath, looking up towards the thumbs. And as we exhale, we forward fold, so hinging from the hips, reaching down towards the mat, just bending one knee gently at a time to allow the hamstrings to ease open. Doesn't matter if you can't touch your toes, we're just reaching the hands towards the ground, and just allow the head to hang easy while we're here for a few moments, just stretching into the hamstrings. On your next inhale, let's straighten our spines like a tabletop, placing the hands on the shins or down on the mat. This is our halfway lift. And as we exhale, we place the hands down onto the mat, step 1 foot back at a time so that we're in our high plank, and we go down into our chaturanga. So lowering the body, keeping the elbows tucked into the sides until you parallel. Inhale, roll over the toes, come up for upward facing dog. And exhale, roll again over the toes, lifting the hips for downward facing dog. So for downward facing dog, we're trying to create that beautiful triangle shape with the body. The legs are straight, but let's bend one knee at a time. Just again, easing into those hamstrings. Hi everyone, I can see you joining. Welcome to our lunchtime yoga session, where we try and work through all the hard work and tight spots that we have created from our running and cycling. Now here from our down dog, we're gently going to begin to look up. As we inhale, step to the front of the mat, come up for our halfway lift. As we exhale, we forward fold. You can bend your knees here if you like. You can bring the stomach to meet the thighs. And we inhale, high mountain, hands up towards the ceiling. And exhale, hands to heart center for our Tadasana or standing pose. So it's important to remember that in our standing poses in yoga, we're always keeping the legs engaged, the body strong, the pelvis tucked in gently, the core, we're bringing the belly button closer to the spine. So let's inhale, lifting the hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, straight spines, hands on your shins. Exhale, chaturanga, so placing the hands down on the mat, stepping the feet back, lowering yourself till you're parallel, rolling over the toes. Inhale, upward facing dog. The thighs are off the mat. Exhale, roll over the toes again, downward facing dog. And as you inhale, look to the front, step to the front, come up for your halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold, bending your knees again here if you'd like to, just to create that connection. Reaching down, let the body just rest. And then begin to straighten as you inhale, come up, high mountain. Exhale, hands to heart center, Tadasana. Well done. Let's do one more round just to complete our warm-up. Inhale, high mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Thighs and knees off the mat. Exhale, downward facing dog, rolling over the toes. Inhale, step to the front. Come up for your halfway lift, straight spines. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, high mountain. Exhale, hands to heart center, Tadasana. Beautiful work, everyone. Let's come down onto the mat into our tabletop position. Hi to everyone else who said hi and joined. So here, we're just going to begin in our tabletop. Hands directly beneath the shoulders, knees directly beneath the hips, neutral spine. So just take a moment to check your adjustment. The knees must be 2 fists apart, so that's a great way to just test that your width is correct. From here, we're going to move into a couple rounds of cat and cow, just to release the spine. So let's inhale as we drop the belly and begin to look up towards the ceiling, sticking the bum out. As we exhale, we round the spine, look towards the belly button. Inhale, lifting the chest up and open, dropping the belly, sticking the bum out as if you're going to press the bum against the wall behind you. Exhale for cat, begin to round the spine, look towards the belly button, tilt the pelvis inwards. Inhale for cow, begin to stick the bum out. Drop the belly, look up, feel the opening in the throat and the chest in front. Exhale for cat, round the spine, look towards the belly button, press the hands into the mat to push the spine up towards the ceiling. Let's do one more round, inhaling for cow, beginning to stick the bum out, dropping the belly, imagining you have a ball resting on your back. And as we exhale for cat, the ball comes beneath you and you're rounding yourself over the ball. And inhale just for a neutral spine. So now we're going to move into our child's pose. So bring the toes to touch behind you and spread the knees nice and wide out towards the edges of the mat. Sit back down onto your heels first, and then slowly begin to come back down onto the mat. Forearms first, and then extending the hands out in front of you. This is a really great posture for the back, helps to elongate the spine, and at the same time we're doing a bit of opening for the hips. So just allow the belly to be soft and expand between the thighs as you breathe, resting the forehead on the mat. Let's all come up onto our fingertips. So we're keeping the arms nice and active, feeling a deeper stretch around the shoulders. And let's begin to walk the hands over to the left-hand side. And then bring the forehead back down to the mat so we feel a nice stretch on the right side of the body. On your next inhale, let's walk those fingers back through to center and then over to the right hand side. So now we're feeling the stretch on the left side of the body. Once again, bring the forehead down to the mat. On your next inhale, let's walk the hands back through to center and then bring the elbows down to the mat. Bring the hands together into a prayer-like pose, walking the elbows slightly forward. As you exhale, place the hands on the outside at the back of the neck and rest the forehead down onto the mat. On your next exhale, release the palms down to the mat. As you inhale, let's gently come back up into our tabletop position. From here, we're going to thread the needle, so bring your attention to your right wrist. As you inhale, we're going to lift the hand up towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, we're going to thread the needle, bringing that hand through in between the left thigh and arm, extending it all the way out to the side as we bring the right temple to touch the mat. So just do a quick check-in with your hips here. Make sure you're not leaning over to one side. Just square those hips off. And then when you're ready, you can walk the left hand all the way out in front. So the arms are now creating like a perpendicular line to one another. So they're almost like a square shape. This is a really nice stretch for the upper back, all around the shoulder area of the chest. On the next exhale, you can begin to walk the left hand back to beneath the shoulder. As you inhale, lift yourself up and reach the right hand back up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, place that right hand down onto the mat. As you inhale now, let's lift the left hand all the way up, so you're creating that beautiful straight line from hand to hand. And as you exhale, we're going to thread the needle on the opposite side, bringing that hand between the right arm and thigh, extending it all the way out, placing the left temple on the mat, and then when you're ready, you can extend that right hand out in front. Remember to focus your attention on the breath. On your next exhale, you can begin to walk that right hand back to beneath the right shoulder. As you inhale, we lift the left hand up towards the ceiling, opening the body out to the side. As we exhale, we release the hands down to the mat, so both hands are down to the mat. Now from here, we're just going to gently sit back down onto our ankles as we begin to move into our foot stretch posture. So we're going to be doing 2 foot stretches, and we're going to do just a couple of breaths on each side, and then we'll give the body a break, and then we'll move back into them. So the first one, we're going to just stay with your knees down onto the mat. As you can see, my feet are just resting down onto the mat. You can bring the hands together at your chest, and as you lean back, you begin to lift lift, lift, lift. So you can see the triangle that's forming here. What we're doing is we're stretching this area on the top of the feet. So you can feel the stretch from about halfway down the shin or about a third of the way, and it stretches all the way to the top of the feet. If you would like to try this posture with some assistance, if you're struggling to get your legs up, begin by placing the hands behind you first and then lean down onto those hands so that you can lift the knees up. It is certainly not a comfortable posture as we're stretching out areas that often don't get stretched at all. So we're just going to stay here for a couple more breaths before we release the posture. This is Lionel, my one cat. He loves yoga and he likes tearing apart my yoga mat. Let's exhale to release now and just gently come back up, resting the hands into the lap for 2 rounds of breath. Let's move back into the stretch now. So if you'd like to assist yourself by placing the hands behind you or keeping your hands at your heart center, begin to lean backwards and then lifting the knees and the shins up off the mat, feeling that deep stretch for the top of the feet as they pressed firmly into the mat. We're here for just 2 more breaths. And gently, as you exhale, release the legs back down to the mat. Now for our second round of foot stretches, we're going to work with stretching the soles of the feet. So let's begin first by just coming up onto the knees, curling the toes beneath you, and then we're going to sit back down onto the ankles. So you should already feel the stretch all the way from the back of the toes up through the bottom of the feet, soles of the feet, up to the top of the ankles. And Lionel, like Lionel Richie, but also Lulu, that's his name. So initially, maybe you don't feel anything, but after a few rounds of breath, you do begin to feel the stretch, particularly for the toes as we sit down onto those ankles. So we're just here for 2 more breaths and then we'll release the posture before we come back in. On your next inhale, begin to sit up. Just release the feet for 2 rounds of breath. To come back into our round, as we inhale, we curl the toes. As we exhale, we sit back down onto the ankles. So you should really be feeling that stretch now, the base of the feet, the back of the toes, throughout the soles. We have for just 3 more breaths more, so you can allow the hands to just rest easy in the lap. Hey Lulu. And on your next inhale, let's begin to sit back up. As we exhale, we release the feet and just gently sit back down. And your foot stretching is complete for the day. So now we're going to work a little bit more with the spine. So just come back into that tabletop position. So scooching the legs back behind you. And the first posture we're going to move into is puppy's pose. So imagine how a little puppy gets excited and he comes down onto the mat and his bum is wagging up in the air. That's what we're going to be doing. It's good for the lower back. So from your tabletop position, just gently come down onto the forearms first. And then when you're ready, reach the arms out further in front of you and bring the forehead to touch the mat. Now, if you'd like to increase the intensity of the stretch here, you can try and bring the chin to touch the mat. You should feel it more around the shoulders and the upper back if you're able to kiss the mat, or even bring the chest to lower down to the mat. We're here for just 3 more breaths. As you inhale, slowly begin to lift yourself up, and then as you exhale, walk the hands back beneath the shoulders. So the second posture we're going to move into now is our Sphinx pose. So while you should have experienced quite a deep stretch around the shoulders and the upper back, we're now going to bring the legs down to the mat first and work with the lower back. So Sphinx pose, imagine those big sphinxes in Egypt. We're lifting the chest up off the mat. We're working the elbows slightly backwards so we can create more lift, pressing into the mat with our hands and gently beginning to look up. So you can feel the pelvis pressing into the mat. Even the glutes, giving them a little squeeze. We're here for just 3 more breaths. So if you want to experience slightly deeper stretch, work the elbows even closer towards the waist. And as we exhale, we release the posture, coming back up into our tabletop position. Beautiful work, everyone. That's our floor work done for now. We're going to move into our standing segment part of the class. So if you'd like to take a sip of water, you're welcome to do so. And then we're going to move into a series of 4 postures, beginning with our tree pose, then moving into our sugarcane pose, our half moon, and our dances. So all of these postures work with strengthening the legs as well as stretching out the muscles like the hamstrings and the quads. And again, it gives us that concentration and focus on balance. So that helps with working with the little muscles in the feet. All of this helps with running, so very good if you are a runner. So if you've had a sip of water, let's now just meet in the center of the mat. So we're going to begin with our tree posture with our right leg lifted. So keep the left leg nice and strong and straight, foot pressed into the mat, kneecap lifted to engage the thigh. And we begin the first variation of tree pose is bringing the foot to rest on the calf. So we never rest the foot against the knee. We don't put pressure on our joints in yoga. Obviously, we want to make sure that our joints are nice and healthy. So we work with rather pressing against parts of the muscle. So the foot's pressed into the calf. If you'd like to try the second variation, you can lift the foot up and place it on the inside of the thigh. Again, we want to just make sure that our knees feel healthy here. So if you experience any pain, go back down to the previous variation. Then for our third variation, we can bring the foot up into the pelvis area. Only do this if your knees are healthy and you don't experience any pain here in the knees. You're welcome to keep one hand on the foot for assistance. And then the whole idea is that you're trying to work this right knee backwards so that the knees are in line. So you can keep one hand on the foot for assistance, or you can bring both hands to your heart center. And at the same time, we're tilting the pelvis forwards. So you're kind of pushing the foot out and at the same time reaching that knee backwards. So this is a great balancing posture. Also works with the hips, opening the hips. And wherever you are in your tree pose, I challenge you now to just close your eyes for 3 seconds and see if you can hold the posture. My foot definitely wiggles a lot when I try. It's sometimes hard to maintain that balance with our eyes closed. So it really shows you that using your eyes to focus on a point actually helps you balance. So with a lot of our balancing postures in yoga, if you focus on a point about 1.5 meters in front of you, this helps you to create that balance. Now on your next exhale, let's begin to release that leg. So give it a little shake, shake, shake. Little bends up and down. Just releasing any tension. And then we prepare to set up for the opposite side. So now really engaging that thigh on the right, nice strong straight leg. Spread the toes wide onto the mat. And we begin to lift. Left foot first variation. On the inside, pressing against the calf. If you would like to try the second variation, we bring the foot up to the inside of the thigh. And if you'd like to try the third variation, Only if you did this on the other side and you experienced no pain, you're welcome to bring the foot up into the pelvis area, tilting the pelvis forward, pressing the knee back. Feel that opening of the hip space. So you're welcome to keep one hand on the foot for assistance, or you can bring both hands to heart center. So remember, we're keeping that standing leg nice and strong and straight. The spine is also tall and straight, so imagine you have that rod pulling up through the crown of the head, so the pelvis is tilted slightly forwards. Find your focal point to help you balance. And now, just like we did on the opposite side, I challenge you to close your eyes for 3 seconds and see how you feel. Hey! Sorry, I had to shout at my cats. That was not very yogi, but they were fighting. Sorry about that. Calm down, guys. Sorry. So when you're ready on your next exhale, let's just begin to release that left leg. Give it a little bit of a wiggle. Bend that knee up and down. Well done, everyone. Let's just take a moment to bend both knees one at a time before we set up for our next pose, which is our sugar cane pose. So we're going to go back to the opposite leg. So the left leg is now the standing leg, or whatever you were doing, just make sure that you switch legs between each of the postures. So from here, we're going to lift the right foot up behind, grab hold of that right foot with the right hand, and we're going to just gently begin to bend forward, reach forward down for the mat. So what we're doing here is you're feeling a lovely stretch for this quad on the right side. And at the same time, the left leg or the standing leg is really working hard to find that balance. So you're using your foot muscles just to keep yourself balanced. The leg is nice and straight, so you're getting this hamstring stretch on the strong standing leg, and at the same time, this beautiful quad stretch for the leg that's bent up into that sugar cane posture. So I'm just going to show you a side angle so you can see what it looks like from the side. So grab hold of my right leg, gently begin to bend forward, reaching for the mat. You can hold onto the mat or floor if you like for balance, otherwise try and keep yourself lifted up slightly. And as we inhale, we come up. Exhale to release the foot down. Well done, everyone. Hope my cats have calmed down a bit now. Sure, they're very frisky today. Totally not picking up on any stress, I don't know. So let's begin with the opposite side now. So the opposite leg, nice and strong engaged thigh. Lifting that opposite foot up, grabbing it into that hand. So I'll show you a side angle first on the side. From here, we gently just begin to forward bend, reaching down. So you're feeling a lovely quad stretch now on the opposite side. Feeling a hamstring stretch on the standing leg. So you can reach your fingers down towards the mat to hold on for balance, or lift up. Makes the balancing work a little bit harder. If you'd like to, you can also stack books or something that you can rest your hand on to just help you, a bit of assistance for the bottom. So as you can see, my ankle is touching my hip at the back. So a really nice stretch for this leg that's lifted up into the air. Foot getting some nice exercise here on the bottom, constantly balancing, working those muscles. And as we inhale, we gently come up. As we exhale, we release the grip on that foot. Beautiful work, everyone. Let's just take a moment to reset before we move into our next posture, which is our half moon pose. So if you would like to reach for some books or a bottle, something that you can just use to place on the floor to help you with some balance, you're welcome to go get that now quickly. I will just use some books for demonstration. So So you just place them here so that when you are reaching forward, you can press your hand onto those books if the floor seems a little bit far away for that assistance in the balance. So now we're going to move into our half moon posture. So half moon, similar to Sphinx, except we're keeping one leg extended out behind us. So let's begin towards the back of the mat. We're going to step 1 foot forward and then begin to rock. So that back leg is lifted. Watch how my leg is lifted. And then you reach forward with the hand like we did in our Sphinx pose. Not Sphinx pose, in our sugarcane pose. So you can just rest your hand on the book or on the mat, whatever feels comfortable first. Then we begin to lift the top hand and we open the chest up to the side. At the same time, you're lifting that back leg as high as you can. Find the spot that you can look at to help you balance. Concentrate on opening the body out to the side. The hand extended up towards the ceiling, one hand down towards the mat. Lift the back leg higher, lift it higher for 2 more breaths. A little bit more. And exhale, release the leg. Inhale to come up. Whew, it's quite a challenging posture. Stretches to all different parts of the body and works with the waist as well. So now we're going to set up for our opposite side. So I'm just going to step from this side, show a slightly different angle, moving my books aside. So now we're going to step the opposite foot forward, extend the opposite hand out, begin to tip over, reaching for the mat, lifting this back leg nice and high, lifting the hand at the top towards the ceiling, creating that nice line from hand to hand, a straight line, opening the body out to the side. And then see if you can tease the fingertips up off the mat or off the books. So you're using the balance alone, that strong standing leg. Keep the core engaged to also help you balance. It doesn't matter if you fall out, just come back into the posture, step back in and try again. We're here for 2 more breaths. Lift up higher, lift that leg higher. Lift it. Lift the hands off the mat, tease them up. And exhale, release. Inhale, come up. Whew. Beautiful work, everyone. So we've got 1 more standing posture, and that is our dancer's pose. So the great thing about a dancer's pose is that we're playing with a balance of pulling and reaching and kicking back. So on one side, we're kicking back and reaching, the other side, we're reaching out in front, and that actually is what helps us to maintain the balance. So begin with the opposite leg that you were just using as your standing leg down on the mat. So I'm going to show you a front version and then also a side profile so you can see. So I'm going to begin right leg on the mat, reaching for the inside of the left foot, or whichever leg you're using, just reach for the inside of the opposite foot. And then before we kick back, we inhale, lift the opposite arm, and then we begin to bend, reach forward, kick back. At the same time, we're trying to rotate the hip down, so that makes it a little bit harder. Focus on at that point about 1.5 meters in front of you to maintain the balance. Keep that standing leg strong and engaged. Strong thigh. I'm just going to show you side profiles, so keep trying. If you fall, doesn't matter. Come back in. Keep trying. It's a bit of limited space here. And you go a little bit back. So we reach forward, kick back, reach forward. So obviously I have a wall in front of me, but you would reach the hand all the way out in front, as you saw on the camera here. So you can see my leg behind. We're getting a lovely hamstring stretch in the standing leg, quad stretch for the top leg, but we're kicking up and back. So the ankle isn't touching the bum like with the sugarcane pose. We're kicking up, kicking and lifting, and reaching and lifting. So let's just go for 2 more breaths. Reach, reach, reach. Kick, kick, kick. And exhale. Release. Beautiful work, everyone. I don't know about you guys, but I'm just sweating a little bit here. So now let's go move on to our opposite side. So nice strong standing leg. The thigh is rock solid. We reach for the inside of the opposite foot. So you can see what we do with that is we almost move the shoulder out of the frame as we reach for the foot. So we're rotating slightly to the side. We inhale, we lift the opposite hand up towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, we begin to reach, reach, reach. Bend forward, kick back. And at the same time, begin to rotate the hips down. Rotate the hips, rotate them down. Keep the standing legs straight and strong. Reach, reach, reach. Kick a little higher. I'm just going to show you a 3/4 angle. Maybe that's a little bit better. So I'm reaching, reaching, reaching. Kicking, kicking, kicking at the same time. My shoulder is moving back behind me. So you're almost losing the visual of the one shoulder, but at the same time you're rotating the hip down. So it's a constant work of micro adjustments. Focus on that spot on the floor, about 1.5 meters in front of you. If you fall out, come back in. We're here for 2 more breaths still. So let's kick, kick, kick. Reach, reach, reach. Kick and reach, kick and reach, and release. Woo! Well done, guys. Great work. You can have a sip of water. Steve, please, I want videos. I hope Jen's taking pictures. So now, when you're ready, let's have a sip of water. Nice stretching for the quads that we've done and the hamstrings. We're going to move back down onto the mat now. So when you're ready, just begin to lie down. This is the point where we need that belt or strap or pair of stockings. Just begin to lie down. Extending the legs out in front of you. So you can even rest your head on a book here if you like for a little bit of elevation. So let's begin, as long as you've got access to the strap first, let's begin by lifting the right knee, bringing it into the chest, placing both hands around that shin, giving a nice little squeeze so you can feel the stretch here on the back of the thighs and the glute. So squeeze that thigh into the body, a little bit of compression against the torso. So the left leg is still extended straight out in front. And we're just going to hold here for a couple more breaths. Now take hold of your strap or your belt or your stockings. Place the right foot onto the strap and gently begin to extend the leg up towards the ceiling so your leg is nice and straight. Just work with the strap, adjusting your hands to find what point of tension works for you. So you can obviously clasp that quite tight and then get a much deeper stretch. Perhaps you bring the foot even closer towards the face, but you're maintaining the straightness of the leg. So the whole idea about the series of exercises that we're doing now is that we're working with our hamstrings. So just ease and be gentle with your body. Our hamstrings do obviously get quite tight from running. So flex the toes back towards the face. Imagine that you're pressing the ankle up towards the ceiling. So it doesn't matter if your leg is not perpendicular. The idea is that you keep the leg straight. So even if you have to release it slightly lower down, that's fine. Just work with what your body allows you to do today. And then see, as we are in the pose for a little bit longer, perhaps you can make those little adjustments, stretching a little bit deeper. Now on your next exhale, we're going to begin to bring the strap into the right hand, and you're going to release the left hand down. You can release it into that T-like shape, and you're gently going to allow that right foot to drop down to the side of the mat. So maintain the connection of the sit bones onto the mat and both shoulder blades. You're just allowing the foot to drop down to the right hand side wherever it feels comfortable. For some of you, the foot might reach all the way down to the mat. For some, it may be hovering off the mat, maybe 45-degree angle. Just work with what your body is offering you today. So it's a nice opening here for the pelvis, feeling the stretch on the inside of that right thigh. We're here just for 2 more breaths. As we inhale, we begin to lift the foot back up towards the ceiling. Reach for the strap with your left hand, and then begin to let go of the right hand, extend it out to the side in that T-like shape. And when you're ready, begin to gently allow the foot to drop over to the left. So it's creating a little twist for the spine. So just allow this to be a slow process of dropping down. We don't want any sudden movements in our yoga practice. This also just helps to prevent injury. It's very important that you maintain keeping both shoulder blades on the mat. So if you feel like your shoulder blades are beginning to lift up off the mat, just allow the leg to come up a little bit more. So you should also feel the stretch now on the outside of the right thigh into the glute. We're here for just 2 more breaths. So just breathe through the posture. You can look towards that right hand if that feels comfortable. As you inhale, gently begin to bring the foot back up through to center. Then bend the knee, release the strap, set it aside for a moment. Hold on to that shin and just give yourself a lovely little squeeze. Feel the thigh press into the body. And as you exhale, release the leg down. As you inhale, we bring the opposite leg in. So again, creating that compression here. We're just pressing down with the shin onto the mat, bringing the thigh close against the torso. And we're here for a few breaths. So you can feel the stretch in the back of the thigh. My right leg is extended out in front of me. Now let's begin to reach for that strap, placing it in both hands and placing the left foot into the strap. Just begin to extend it up towards the ceiling. Hi, Biggie. My other cat is here. Hello, Boo Boo. So flex the toes back towards the face. Press the heel up against the ceiling. Feel that nice hamstring stretch on the opposite side. So just adjust your hands to wherever it feels comfortable. Hey, Biggie. And the cat's. We're here for just a couple more breaths. Try and enjoy the stretch. Know that you're doing some good for the body, that you're loving your body up. If you're like me, I'm not great at stretching after running, so it's important that I do these yoga practices 3 times a week in between all the other exercise. It's also good for mental health, of course. So now let's get ready to release the leg down to the left. So drop the right hand down, and as you exhale, just gently allow the leg to fall down to the left side. So we're keeping both sit bones on the mat, both shoulder blades onto the mat, Feeling an opening of the pelvis, the stretch now on that inside of the left thigh. Hello, no-nos. Hey. Say hello to everybody on Instagram. So we're here just for a couple more breaths. On the next inhale, you can gently begin to lift the leg back up through to center. Reach for the strap with the right hand. Release the left hand down to the side now. Do any adjustments for the strap if you like. Just be mindful one side of your body might feel tighter than the other. It's completely normal. And as you exhale, just gently allow that left foot to drop down to the right side. Oh, I can definitely feel I'm tighter on the side. Feel that tightness in the hip. So you should feel the stretch on the outside of the thigh, going into the glute on the hip. It's important to just keep both shoulder blades into the mat. So you can look towards that left hand now. We're here for 2 more breaths, so try and just enjoy the stretch. Breathe into the discomfort. And on the next inhale, we gently begin to lift that leg back up through to center. As you exhale, release the strap, bring the knee into the chest. Give it a lovely squeeze. Feel the thigh press against the torso. And then bring the opposite leg in to meet. So both knees are in the chest. Reach the forehead towards your knees. Give yourself a little squeeze of gratitude. A little thanks to bringing yourself to the mat today and doing the practice. Doing some lovely stretches and healing exercise for the body. And when you're ready, you can hold onto the shins and gently, sorry Lulu, roll yourself up into a seated position. And we are done with our lunchtime class. So thank you everyone for practicing with me today. I hope you enjoyed it and that you felt that you got some good stretching done for those legs, and that you keep doing your yoga practice, because it really does help with all the other exercise that we are doing. Just helps to ease through those tight spots, particularly with our legs. So I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next week, and enjoy the weekend ahead. So thank you so much, and namaste. Have a beautiful day further.